Hello and welcome back to Parsave Productions presentation of Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship action. We're in the quarterfinals, back 9. We got a good card going with Barsby, Koling, Ulibarri, and Locastro. Big Sexy commentary here with you, Nate Sexton and Jeremy Koling.
Hole 10 is a long par 4. Well, it's long off the tee. If you get a good shot off like Paul has here, the approach is no more than 320 feet or so. But this tee shot's a little scary. You got the OB on the right, and typically there's wind coming up the gut, which makes a headwind shot like this pretty difficult. But the wind is actually somewhat down, and those are good shots there from Nikko and Paul.
There's a pretty big OB ravine that all you guys are clearing. That's what makes this shot tough, is that you got to get over that creek.
Correct.
And all these shots appear to be doing that. That's a big one right there.
Yeah, that was about as big as I feel comfortable going there. That's my stable start ashore. I put a little bit of Anheuser on it.
That was probably like 475?
Yeah, maybe about that. Pushing the 450 to 475 range. And Gregg as well.
4 right over it. Good job.
Yeah, and the 16 competitors that were playing on Friday really made this hole look a lot easier than I think it plays. I mean, if there's a headwind, This hole goes from being a hole that averages under par to a hole that averages over par really quick.
Definitely. Nikko's approach. Out of bounds golf green in play there, right? As he goes over it.
Correct. And just absolute perfect dime there from Nikko onto the basket. He's going to get his birdie here. Gregg going really wide, a little bit of a late release it seemed like. He's going to be at that 60-foot range, maybe just inside that. Paul going with the X1 here, Heiser. This is looking pretty good.
Can just barely see the basket peeking over the construction of the golf green.
Yeah, and that's the really cool thing about this hole is the approach is actually really difficult to judge the distance. Anytime you can't see the base of a pin, it makes it look a lot further. And I thought it was a lot further than it was. When I threw the shot, I didn't get really any claps, and I was like, what's going on? I thought that was absolutely perfect. And come up there and see that it's 40 feet long. And
then you realize what's going on.
I've been had.
Another little bit off putt from Gregg there. Beautiful. Good birdie.
Yeah, happy to make that comeback after.
You're making your move here. A couple big-time par saves. And then it's now getting the birdies going.
Mm-hmm. I've definitely been in danger in at least 3 holes so far and managed to get some lucky breaks as well and staying bogey-free so far. And Paul makes his birdie putt. Nikko will have this tap in.
And as we talked about, only 8 players are advancing out of this round, and you guys had predicted among your group that -6 would be about the right number. I know you guys are checking scores at this point. Like, is that still kind of holding true?
Yeah, it's shaping up to be that way. It's difficult to say because the tee time after us was 1 hour after we had teed off at 1 o'clock. So we really had to kind of be patient with those scores. But we'd already seen 2 groups come in. We knew what we were doing. So it's just 4 players behind us that could really change things. 600 is still looking like the number to be.
Yuli hits a tree there, kicks to a pretty bad spot. I don't expect he's going to have a great opportunity from there.
And Nikko with a low turnover, just never got the height right on it.
What are you going to throw?
I'm throwing my MD2. It's a really understable mid-range because it's just beat up, and I just didn't quite put enough hyzer on it. Look at this, though. All the way through. There's a little trick for you.
I'll remember that.
There's an opening over there if you're incredibly lucky.
And Gregg going with the eagle. He didn't quite find the opening, but he's got a putt.
He's going to kick out to open 40-foot look or so, 45-foot look.
Layup from Ulibarri. And Nikko a little low.
Barsby.
Yes.
That's the Barsby we know. Good birdie pickup. And I'd actually missed my putt. I drew like 2 chains on the right side of the basket, but this is my par putt here.
Nervy. Oh, boy. Overcorrection.
Only person on the circle. Didn't really deserve to be there in the first place, but yeah, that's a really...
That's going to hurt your chances pretty badly, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the end by any means, but that's... to miss 2 putts inside the circle, that's something that I've been taking a lot of pride in lately. I've been putting pretty well in the circle, and to miss back-to-back putts there, that was... especially that being the first bogey I've taken all around.
Yeah.
You know, I've been in some situations where bogey or par was really out of the picture, realistic picture, and I saved par anyways.
Yeah.
And then that one is just like, it definitely threw a screw in the wrench in the screw.
Screw in the wrench factory.
Screw.
Yeah, you don't want one in there. Just clanging around.
So this is going to drop me back down to 2. Paul is at 4 under still, and Nikko at 3. Gregg with a good birdie putt puts him at even par.
No. Just turfed.
And this is a 400-foot open fairway, but the left side of the cart path, or the cart path and left, will be all the way down, so it makes it pretty narrow down this tunnel, and it's a low ceiling as well. So that's a really good shot from Paul there to get to the circle's edge.
Yeah.
400 feet, only about 4 feet to 5 feet off the ground the whole way.
Nikko's lining up a roller.
This looks a little bit overturned. Really being safe to stay away from that cart path. Maybe just inside circle 2, maybe just outside.
Time for you to take out a little aggression here, maybe.
Yeah, this is one that I really like to get, but man, you cannot throw this
not
high.
That high, yeah.
You got to throw it low with a little bit of Anheuser or something stable and get that skip late. And yeah, that's I feel like this is a drop stroke for me personally. Like this is one that I expect to get a stroke on the field on.
Certainly a hole that sets up very well for you.
Mm-hmm.
And for Gregg.
Yeah, and for you and for anyone that's got a 400-foot sidearm.
That's the list.
The list
there's more.
There's more, for sure. That list gets bigger and bigger every year, too, as people are starting to learn the trick.
Oh.
Great run from Nikko.
Yeah, wow.
Trying to make something happen. Not happening.
Here's Uli, 4 birdie from about 40. And this is going to roll. Not too bad.
Yeah, not bad.
Looking like a bunch of pars here.
Uli's still leading the way at 4 under. Really getting down to it's time to pick up some birdies.
Yeah.
You know, like holes. There's some holes out there that you kind of expect to get birdies on, but you can't take anything for granted. It's best to just get these birdies early and then play it smart.
Yeah, for sure. Another long hole, low ceiling that sets up well for a forehand.
Mm-hmm.
Gregg got this one up in the air.
Nice shot. Just a little bit shorter, 18 feet shorter at 382. Nikko once again going with the roller. Put a little bit more angle on it, but man, that is a really understable disc.
Wow. Thing's bailing out right away.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going with the same star destroyer that's in the last one. Trying to get a little bit of flex. Not quite as far left off the tee that I wanted, but it's still just inside the circle's edge.
That's nice.
I think the ideal play is to go just to the left of that big water oak on the green up there. Actually, not sure if that's a water oak or a live oak.
I'm calling it a pine.
I mean, that's what I meant, pine. I'm just pretending like I know what I'm talking about. I know there's Spanish moss on it, and it's beautiful.
That's what commentary is, folks. Pretend what you know what you're talking about. And yikes.
Why doesn't the disc pretend to know where to go? That would be a thing that'd be great.
All the way from the cage to the band, back to the cage again.
And I think it was 2 cages after the band. That was a lot of dirty action.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. Good birdie from Gregg.
Mm-hmm. Gregg's kind of at that place where you don't have to birdie out, but it'd be best if he did.
You might have to.
You might have to actually birdie out, yeah. And that's 3 putts inside the circle of left on the last 3 holes. So kind of feeling the effects of that, but I know that it's not over yet. There's still plenty of holes to get birdies, but it's got to pretty much be clean from here on out, is what I'm telling myself at that point.
Yeah. And this is a tough hole. Par 5, 14th. Mandatory, you can see clearly there. You got to stay through the tunnel. And usually that looks a little inside. The tunnel looks more open this year, maybe.
I can't quite remember what's different about it, but I think it could just be
Might be a trick of the light.
Just be the lighting tricks, man.
That's a perfect shot.
Yeah, Paul just going with his H1 just to get out the gap, get around the corner. Perfect shot. The trick isn't to really go big off the tee here. As you see, Nikko kind of holds back. The second shot's wide open. There is OB all the way down the right side, but you really just want to get to a place where you can throw a good second shot.
And then you've got a great chance at birdie if you can do that.
And that's my big German Thunderbird.
Well done.
Doing what it does. You don't have to throw it that hard, and it just goes forever, it seems like. I didn't think that my drive was any longer than Nikko or Paul's, but it was about 50 feet longer than theirs.
Wow.
Put me in a good spot. And Gregg's got a nice second shot, but it just keeps skipping. And once you get into the rough, this is a golf course here. You're not really designed to play from out there.
No.
This area isn't beat in, and it's scary. You do not want to be in the rough.
Cart path skip again.
Mm-hmm.
This time not so unlucky. That's probably a good thing.
Mm-hmm. I wasn't sure if that had enough hyzer left in it to get back in bounds, but Nikko's now set up with a good second shot. He'll have about a little bit under 300 feet or around 300 feet for his last shot coming into the green.
Nice. OB on the right. Get your forehand out.
That's right.
And look at that control. Perfect turnover, maximizing the distance and staying out of the woods. Great shot.
Thank you. My reliable, understable Star Wraith. Those PFN Star Wraiths. There's nothing better, man. Those things are just my favorite control driver. Barsby going aggressive from a really awkward lie, and that is going to be out of bounds early. Is pretty much spelling the end of Barsby's run. Not enough holes left.
Good shot there. Great shot.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, all these guys, every player here, top flight competitors and wanting to try their best to advance. But I will say, it has a little less sting to it when it's the end of the season, and you can, it's like this is the capper.
Right.
If you win it, great. You can have a nice week really celebrating that. But if you're having a round like Gregg and you kind of come out a little slow, at least you do have that little silver lining that the season is basically over, and you can kind of go back and rest up and tune up some new skills, and just kind of recharge. Every year it is a long season, February all the way till October.
And Nikko high left, but in there for the birdie.
Nice birdie.
And it is an interesting way to end the touring season. I mean, I don't know what everyone's off-season plans are, but I know I have 2 more tournaments planned for the next couple of months, and then for the rest of the time, it's just basically like, all right, what did I do well this season? What do I need to work on? How can I rest a little bit too? Just the mental rest is just as important as the physical rest.
Yeah, I'm definitely not playing any more tournaments after this.
You got a baby.
That's true.
I don't have babies, man. I got
You
tournaments.
got to play.
That's right.
No rest for the single man.
And Paul going under 5 under here.
Island hole, double Mando.
Mando. And they push the tee back.
Whoa.
Paul hits one of the mandatory trees, forward kick onto the island, talking about living right.
Guy. That's the difference.
That's a difference maker for sure.
We'll see how many strokes assuming he makes it. He's leading this group, so I assume he will. Let's see how many strokes he makes it in by, because that could have been a big break. And This is great.
MD2. I didn't hear metal, and that's a loud. Those things produce a lot of sound, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it did, just for my own.
I don't think those are made out of metal, for one. Those are a plastic contraption, but you may have made contact with it.
And Barsby wanted to re-tee, but we're like, you know what? For the fans, why don't you go to the drop zone and throw it in? He said, I agree, and didn't throw it in.
Why would he want to re-tee? He just
he knows that
prove?
He wanted to ace it from the.
That's true.
Yeah.
He's out of it at this point for the cameras.
Paul was a little distracted there. He admitted he could have played through the distraction, but yeah, it was a little frustrating because he's still not even to that 6 under mark.
What did golf carts moving around or something was distracting him?
There was just some people in golf carts and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's just going to happen. You got a ton of golf carts out here. They're all eager to watch the action. You got the world champion on the card, so we're going to have a lot of people out here watching. And yeah, so I mean, that's just a moment where, we lost focus for a moment. And,
yeah.
We're still in that race to get to 6 under. The closer we get, the more we realize that there's 3 scores in at 6 under from the. Oh, wait a second.
Ooh.
Oh, hold up.
Wow.
But then there's 3 scores in from earlier that's 6 under, and all the players on this card have more tour points through the season that would bump out the lowest point of those 6 under. And Johnny McRae, now that their round is developing a little bit more, is absolutely killing it. We know that 6 under is now the score that we have to shoot to get in.
Okay.
And all 3 of us could shoot 6 under and push out all the 6 unders from the 3 previous groups.
Yeah.
So we're all safe at 6 under if we can get to that mark.
And this is going to be an important shot for you.
And I'm screaming for it to get through, and it just doesn't. But it's still a long birdie look. There's nothing in the way.
Nikko had a long birdie look as well to get to that magic number.
And Paul throwing my disc in my face, the disc that I spent years beating in, and just does it better than me. And it kind of just like, screw you, man.
The Rhino. Ooh, just a little bit too much hyzer.
Good bid there.
Come on.
And just drifting a bit left.
So now you know.
Now I know.
Birdie.
Got to go birdie or birdie or par eagle. Nikko getting to that 6 under mark right there with a good jump putt just outside the circle. Paul trying to get to that mark as well. Low.
Yes.
But dances his way in there. And he was a little bit nervy there. He said he heard some cart paths, and he's happy to get through hole 16 with the birdie, obviously. So there's 2 in. As long as they can go par and below, they're safe at that score.
Not that that's really necessarily that easy, though. There's still quite a bit of work to be done.
Well, we got a brand new hole 17. It's a par 4 now. 635 feet. Plays to throw kind of a layup shot, kind of like that. Maybe another 30, 40 feet would be past these crepe myrtles on the left side. Paul also playing just a really smart shot to that bulk of the fairway. It's not that wide. You see the cart path that is out of bounds left. I'm trying to throw a flex shot with my Sexton Firebird. Instead, I just throw kind of a hyzer shot.
Uh-oh.
And I'll tell you this right now. I'm still pulling off prickers from where I'm about to go up there. Barsby, inspired by Simon's eagle play during the first round, going through. This is all out of bounds until there.
Oh my gosh.
Barsby just going straight at the pin. Got an eagle look now from about 50 feet. Incredible shot.
Wow, that was cool.
During the round one, Simon was at even par with 2 holes to go. Had to go 3 under in the last 2. Actually, back it up a hole. He had a par putt from 60 feet that he made on hole 16. Then he goes for the pin, makes a putt from outside the circle, birdies 18 to get to 3 under,
And
knocks out
advances.
Andrew Presnell. Crazy story.
I think Ulibarri stayed up in the tree there.
He did. He's about 20 feet out in the tree.
And you're going with this little scuba.
And out about 10 minutes after walking over there to find my disc, and about another 8 minutes to get to the disc. Well, 10 minutes total in the whole process, seemed like.
Yeah.
Finally able to throw my shot here for my birdie, and that's just going to be a par save, and that means eagle or you're out on the last hole.
That is tough. Speaking of eagles.
He's playing today. Oh, you're talking about this shot?
This shot here.
Okay. I know what you're talking about.
Ooh.
Just drawn backside metal. That would have been something nice to just take home with you.
Definitely. Yuli, there's that insurance moving to 7 under.
Just outside the circle. He knows how important that putt was.
Takes a lot of pressure off.
18 isn't that scary, but there is OB. There are mandatories. It is a par 5. You know, anything could happen, but
But you ought to be able to chip up a 5.
sure, that insurance stroke is definitely huge.
Especially when you have no incentive to attack and really get in dangerous positions. So Nikko and Paul now the story. Unless you can make an eagle putt happen.
Yeah.
These guys just need to avoid double bogey.
Correct.
Even single bogey, they're still going to be all right.
Yeah.
So this drive will likely seal it for Nikko if it can get through.
And you're going to see almost everyone throwing rollers here on this hole.
Yeah, that's good.
And that is good. That's just off to the left side, but far enough that it shouldn't be that big of an issue for him. Paul actually going with a nice low ceiling driver shot here. Wow. Catching the tree late, but still that's exactly what you're looking for. Getting at least 400 feet off the tee is huge. Barsby says, I'm going to go for the Nikko roller here.
Oh, he's getting...
The angry roller face.
Oh, he's gone for
And
it.
he's laced it. That just needs to stand up a little bit. Gets through all the palms
Nice.
out into the open. That's a big shot there. And I know the situation. I actually have to go for the Nikko roller too. Got to rip it pretty hard.
Miss it, miss it.
Didn't miss it, but
Fighter.
managed to keep going. And there is that mandatory on the right side that it has passed. So now it's just a really weird angle to get to the pin. It's actually, the basket's somewhat near that big green tent that you see out in the background, but there's a mandatory out here to the left that we have to navigate first before getting around to it. So
Your chances are,
not great.
best case, you might be able to set up like a 150-footer
Yeah, that would
if
be
you
best
did
case.
something amazing here.
I got a wide open rip here with the destroyer, and I loved this shot. I absolutely put a good hit on it. Worst kick ever. Worst kick ever, and backwards and into the absolute jungle. Like, I was just like, well, I mean, I didn't really expect to give myself that great of a chance, but at least wanted to see where it would have landed, you know?
Oh, look at this old thing.
Yeah, Barsby's had this in his bag since 1937.
What is it, a Cobra?
It's actually an original Frisbee pie tin.
Oh, yeah. Just
But
painted pink.
Painted pink, yes.
That's cool.
I have
Look at
no
it,
idea,
It just
but
holds that turnover.
It is understable. That's all I know.
Yeah, it is.
But never turning over, just hitting one too many pine cones or things on the ground. I don't know
Good
what.
shot, though, right? I mean,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
okay.
And Paul just in a nice place to just throw a nice conservative shot, leaving him a little putter pitch shot up there to get his par, walk away, move on to the semifinals. And Nikko going with also a very conservative shot, just to not throw out of bounds.
Is that putting surface out of bounds?
I actually don't think it is.
Okay, good.
Moving over to my line, I've got really awkward stance, low ceiling. Go with a flip up. Manages to miss all the trees.
Ooh.
Just past the sand trap, and that's about 45 feet for a completely inconsequential putt.
Is the sand out of bounds?
I don't think that's out of bounds either.
Okay. Just looks cool.
It just looks awesome. And Gregg going with a
Oh,
turnover.
Bouncing off a
1,
truck.
2, 3 cars, and that is out of bounds. Just couldn't quite flex back. But what an incredible season for Barsby. You know, this definitely, this event won't change anything. It's just one round where he kind of ran into some trouble in the back nine. But an incredible season for him, and I'm sure he's nothing but confidence going into the 2019 preparation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nikko and Paul both their layups.
The points don't matter.
Yeah, but
You're in anyway.
That's a good way to finish my touring season.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
I mean, a hard hole to birdie, picking up the birdie, scrambling, fighting the whole time. You know, I knew that it wasn't going to be good enough, but I was actually thinking about lining up a pterodactyl claw putt in that one, but I was like, you know what? Like,
I'm glad you did.
I just want to make it.
Yeah, go out like a pro.
And Barsby, speaking about going out like a pro, look at that. Hardly draws any chains. I think that had gone in without chains.
I think Barsby has a cool strategy on those long ones. He does that jog, but I think it's kind of a little short, choppy jog, and it creates an even a bigger illusion because he's taken, you know, it's like he just took 40 running steps to get to the basket.
That was a 120-foot jump.
I think I have to think about that. You don't want to really stride it out. You want to make them choppy, and then the video and the fans are like, holy cow, he had to run for a half hour to get up there to where he made it from.
I think I'd trip over my feet if I'd tried something like that.
Yeah, it's kind of a bouncy, kind of choppy little run. You see some high fives exchanged there. Those two guys know that they are advancing to tomorrow's action. 16 players, you got the top 8 in tour points, making their debut at the championship. Only 5 players go on to the final. Tune in to see how it all unfolds.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. It's been a pleasure bringing you guys the action from 2018. We'll see you guys in 2019. Personally signing off. See y'all next year.
Yeah!